Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Type 2 Tuesday, my weekly update on reversing my diabetes. So this week is all about hitting my first fitness milestone, as well as a new book that I got, and talking a bit more about my weight stall. So as always, let's get started. Thank you so much for tuning again for this week's update, and welcome to any new viewers out there who is seeing me for the first time. Hi, my name is Scott Blinn, and I'm a type 2 diabetic. I have been for about 17 years now, and I've recently taken on a journey to reversing my diabetes naturally through nutrition. So before we dive into my weekly update, I just want to let you guys know a couple things. The first is, picked up a new book called Why We Get Sick by Benjamin Bikman. Dr. Bikman is somebody that I found while I was first starting my own research into reversing my diabetes, and I really liked his talks and interviews, so I'm really excited to see what this book has to offer. It's all about insulin resistance and covers a lot of topics like diabetes and other related metabolic syndrome issues. So again, I'll read it, I'll let you guys know what I think when I'm done, but I have high hopes for it. The next thing I want to mention and celebrate is I actually hit my first fitness milestone, which was to walk 1 mile without totally exhausting myself. And I actually did that twice last week. Once on a local walk around here, but the very first time I did it was when I took a day off. I mentioned last week that I went up to the mountains in New Hampshire to do a little hiking and swimming, which I did, and it was amazing. I wish I could go back every day. But while I was up there just hanging out in the sun and swimming, I also walked around the entire lake. The lake is called Echo Lake. It's a national park up in New Hampshire, and it's just over a mile long. And it's not an easy walk either. I mean, there weren't a lot of hills involved, but there's a lot of roots. It's a wooded trail, and you got to pay attention to what you're doing, especially if you have neuropathy in your legs like I do, and I can't really feel my feet too well yet. It can make for an interesting experience. But I did the walk. I felt great after. I still had energy. It was awesome. So I'm really excited about that and looking to see how far I can push my fitness. It's definitely a motivator. I also had some feathered friends that stopped by to help motivate me, and you can see them right here. There were beautiful ducks that were on the lake, and unfortunately I think people were used to feeding them, so they were coming up to people whenever you got out food of your own. And speaking of food, of course I did eat keto friendly while I was up there. It was really easy to do. I just threw some stuff in a cooler, some meats and cheeses, nuts, olives, things like that, and had a really great time. So overall, absolutely enjoyed it. Can't wait to do it again. As I mentioned before, I'm trying different things with these weekly updates to see what works best. This time I pre-recorded the update and spruced up the presentation a bit more. This also means I'm recording this at my computer with a different microphone, so if I sound a little different, that's why. As always, I love to get your feedback on what things you think work or don't work, so don't forget to comment below. Okay, let's get started. If you remember from last week's update, I had a pretty high morning sugar level from doing my eating late tests that I was doing to see how when I ate affected my morning glucose levels. Well, this week I went back to earlier eating times, and my morning average definitely reflects that at 117.6. My daily average is also better off because of this, and now down to 112. Some of you may notice that this used to be called the post-meal average, but I realized that was not accurate as it also included my morning fasting number in the calculation, so I named it to something that's more appropriate. Regarding my measurements this week, my waist actually increased by about 1/2 inch. This is the first time I've actually had an increase in my waist since I started almost 8 months ago. My weight also continued to have a minor gain this past week, almost by 1/2 pound. Because these numbers continue to trend slightly in the wrong direction, I spent a little time looking into things more deeply. My weight, and now my waist, have been trending ever so slightly in the wrong direction for almost a month now, and yet I've continued eating clean, so what gives? I started by thinking over the most common causes of weight gain, which were inflammation or illness, but I've been feeling fine, so to my knowledge, this isn't it. Hormone imbalance. Insulin, cortisol, and other hormones can cause people to hold on to or gain weight. Again, though, my recent blood work is fine, I feel fine, and other than starting this channel, I don't really have any new stresses in my life. Medications sometimes have the side effect of weight gain, but I'm good there, having already gotten off all my medications except for my metformin ER, which I've taken for a long time and I know don't cause me any weight gain. Rumor does have it that 2020 causes weight gain, and I believe it. In my case, though, I've been eating a clean, strict keto diet the entire time and carefully track all my foods and drink intake, so no for me. As I mentioned before, it could be possible that my recent start of fitness is causing more muscle gain than fat loss right now. I mean, this is possible, but because of the minor increase in my waist this past week, I'm not too sure that this is the reason, so for now I'm going to keep looking. Maybe my metabolism slowed down for some reason and I'm not burning as many calories as before. This does have potential, but let's look at the first place I should be looking. And that is, am I eating too much? Since I track all my food and drinks, I didn't think I was, but I wanted to make sure, so let's start there. To try and figure this out, I went back through my data to find out when exactly my weight stall and minor gains started. It turns out that my lowest weight was 26 days ago from when I recorded this. At the time, I was 252.8 pounds. Since that time, I've gained a total of 3.8 pounds. Before we look at my calorie intake, let's give a quick reminder of my stats to give the numbers context. I'm a 46-year-old male, and I have a height of 6 foot 3 inches. Right now, my weight goal is 210 pounds, and everything I'm about to talk about next is based on these numbers. Now, before I get into this, let me quickly just say that I am not a fan of calorie counting or believe that weight loss is as simple as calories in versus calories out. We now know there are plenty of factors and complexities in weight loss beyond calories. That said, however, I don't think they should be fully discounted either, especially if you're already eating a clean diet that keeps your insulin low and are looking for answers in weight gain or stalls. They still have their place. So in my case, I use the common TDE or total daily expenditure method. While it's not perfect, it does work pretty well for what I'm looking at. I'll add a link to the online calculator that I use in the description below. As you can see here, my basal metabolic rate calorie expenditure is around 2,100 per day to maintain my weight, which adds up to a total of 54,824 calories for the 26 days since my lowest weight. If you're not familiar with this term, the basal metabolic rate is the amount of calories the body uses just to exist, basically what it takes to breathe, pump blood, think, and other basic functions when you're not even moving. Now, according to my TDE, my daily maintenance calories for a sedentary lifestyle is 2,530. And if I do light exercise, which I've started to do over this same period, my maintenance calories should be around 2,900. So let's take a look at my actual calorie intake over this 26-day period where I gained almost 4 pounds. My average daily intake has only been 1,657 calories, well below my calculated TD calories per day. In fact, you can see the various deficits here. I'm not even getting close to what my basal daily calories should be, and if you look at my light exercise number, I am far below the suggested amount. So clearly, I am not eating too much food. In fact, it looks like I'm not eating enough calories per day. This leads me to think that my metabolism is slowed down. This does make sense considering I'm not eating enough to even hit my recommended basal number, let alone the sedentary lifestyle or better. Add to that fact that I'm also recently trying to be more active, it only makes it worse. I've also lost about 80 pounds so far in less than 7 months, and fast weight loss can negatively impact your metabolism. So as of right now, this is my leading theory, and the question becomes, what do I do about it? Well, the short answer is, I'm going to try to eat more than I have been. I think this is actually going to be a challenge for me as I haven't really been hungry since I started keto, which is a great side effect of the positive hormonal changes you get from keeping your insulin levels low, but it makes it challenging to try to eat more. I'm going to start by trying to eat more fatty meats as they tend to be more calorically dense without taking in extra unwanted carbohydrates, and we'll see how that goes. I've been kind of leaning more towards doing a ketovore, carnivore side of things anyway, so it should fit well into what I plan to do. I'll be sure to keep you all posted, of course, on how it goes in future updates, so make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. All right, now let's jump right into this week's questions. We have two, and the first is, do I make any money from this channel or have any disclosures I feel like I need to make? No, I don't have any disclosures and I don't make any money. I recently started this channel. The goal of this channel is not to make money. The goal of this channel is to spread the word and help inform others that they can reverse type 2 diabetes through nutrition. Basically, it's the channel I wish I had found when I started my journey. As I've mentioned in my channel introduction video, that's my mission, help other people and hopefully meet some really cool people along the way and learn more myself. Now, all that said, of course, I do want the channel to grow for a couple reasons. One is the bigger the channel gets, then the more people will get the information they need to hopefully help themselves and better their own health. But secondly, any revenue I would make from the channel, the idea is to invest that right back into the channel itself. A good example is I would love to get a CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor. I could much better monitor my own blood sugars, and so when I do my weekly reports, I could report more accurate information, as well as start doing things like really hit on what foods affect me and share that information with you all. So it's examples like that of things I would love to be able to do with this channel if it grows. But until then, I'm happy to keep doing this. If you guys have any other suggestions or things I can do now to make this channel more useful to you, please suggest them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. All right, and for today's second question, I was told type 2 diabetes cannot be reversed, but you say you are doing just that. Please explain. Okay, when it comes to reversal, I would say there's really actually three terms. There's reversing diabetes, remission of diabetes, and curing diabetes. Remission would be when you don't need any form of medication and just through nutrition alone, by eating a natural, whole foods, healthy diet, you can maintain normal blood sugars. Reversal is more pretty much the same, but you may still be using some medication. The idea is your A1C is in a normal range for an extended period of time. If you just have one A1C in a good range, then I would say you're not even reversed yet. You need to see consistent results over a long time, maybe for a year. So maybe 4 A1Cs taken every 3 months that show that you're in a normal range. I would consider reversed, and that's even if you are taking some medication. And lastly, cured would mean just that. You would have absolutely no insulin-resistant cells in your body, and any reaction you would have to eating sugar, carbohydrate-heavy food would be a normal glucose response. And whether people can actually cure type 2 diabetes really remains to be seen. There isn't enough information out there, and if you could do it through nutrition, I think it would take a very long time. As I mentioned, you need to get rid of your insulin-resistant cells, and the cells in the body take years to regenerate as a whole. I think people say between 7 to 9 years. So ultimately, if you had perfect blood sugar control and could reverse these cells and replace them with healthy new cells, then maybe in 7 to 9 years you would be. Another part of that research is can the pancreas create more beta cells? Can it heal damaged and dead beta cells that a type 2 diabetic gets over time from exhausting the pancreas? There are some recent studies that are promising in this, especially around fasting. If you fast long enough, they're seeing that we may actually be healing and regenerating new beta cells in the pancreas. That's exciting. But to what rate and extent, even if that's true, we don't know. And that kind of would play a factor into how close to curing type 2 diabetes you could get. And that's all the questions we have this week. As always, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions or feedback, just comment below. Also, again, if you could please subscribe, like, and share this channel with others, it would really help me spread the word so we can hopefully help more people with type 2 diabetes together. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.